friend and an inspiration as well. Someone whom I've been associated for a long time, I can say now, but met after many years again.
Correct.
So, guys, just to quickly introduce you to Indraneel, of course, he doesn't need any introduction per se. And Indraneel is the fourth generation partner at Chitale Group, and he focuses majorly on the sweets and snacks arm of the business. And being a Harvard graduate, he takes keen interest in automation, R&D, and he simply loves strategy. Again, has been a serial investor with Shoptimize, Women's Cricket Zone, HR Niti, and his own brand that he co-founded, Herbea, and now currently the managing partner at Chitale. Welcome, Indraneel. How are you?
Thank you, Mukul. It's a pleasure to be here and glad to connect after so many years.
Absolutely. Pleasure is mine. Pleasure is mine, Indraneel. So, Indraneel, the format of the this talk show is basically with the new things happening around us every day in the recruitment side of the world.
Yeah.
We would like to get an advice and your inputs on how this is overall changing. Uh, we have seen a drastic change from in forms of loyalty, in forms of working cultures, and overall other aspects of business. So, with this overall reopening of the Indian markets, what do you
Yeah.
think? How is it going to impact the overall hiring cycles that we currently run?
Well, so we are witnessing a big surge in capacity investments. So we are in the middle of or not, I would say middle, but we are just about got started with a new capex cycle that we are witnessing everywhere around. So this capex cycle naturally means that there is going to be more consumption. And if there is more consumption that everybody is betting on, that also means that there is going to be more hiring because, at the end of the day, you need people. The key question, especially for somebody like us who are coming in from the manufacturing FMCG side of business, where we will be focusing majority of our hiring will be on the sales side because how do we bring the capex out and actually reach the consumer. Secondly, the big talent management will be happening at the side where it is more on the operations and the strategic level side where we are getting just better people to handle the businesses because as the scale of business is going up, the professionals required to run those businesses also going up, and that's why you will also see a good level of mid-level and higher level posts coming up with plum salaries also because of the size of balance sheet that they're expected to report into. So I see that both areas we will be witnessing a good amount of talent coming in, but the key concern for me is that how do we come across as lucrative for the talent that wants to work with us. And secondly, while doing that, how do we create an environment where, the flexibility that at times is afforded by the multinationals, especially the software sides, where everything can happen from work from home. Conventional industries cannot do that. So how do we get that a mindset into the picture that, you guys have to be present at work and get things done? Is going to be the challenge, and that hangover is something that we have to overcome, and that is where the HR is going to play an important.
Absolutely, absolutely. I totally agree. But certainly, I can sense the good news coming in with the numbers that you are looking at growing. That's certainly a good news for the people who are aspiring to work with you
Yeah,
or companies like yours, which is
yeah,
certainly a big boom for the manufacturing industry, for which apparently for last few years, due to COVID, has been a little slow with
yeah.
the recruitment side. Great. So I understand that talent nurturing and the lucrative offers might sound one of the challenges for you. But what is the most major challenge when you are you're recruiting nowadays, especially nowadays?
So what I see is a big disconnect that has happened between the talent and the organization in terms of the sense of belongingness. So when we look at hiring as a whole in terms of strategic level hiring, talent, the big point is that we want people to take ownership, and this ownership does not simply mean ESOPs, but also in terms of the cultural binding that needs to happen. And that is where I feel there is a limitation in terms of the virtual environment that can facilitate this cultural exchange. So organizations are not simply built by great people; it is also built by a good culture. And if that culture does not percolate to the last person inside the organization, then it becomes a challenge because then you're driving a ship that does not really know where it wants to go.
So true, so
So,
true.
so how do we bring that culture, especially in an environment where there is a certain sect which is purely virtual? They've never seen their office also in the last 2 years,
True.
and that's going to be the big challenge. And that's why I think the role of HR is itself going to evolve, especially in mid-sized companies, mid to large-size companies, more so in small to mid-sized companies, where HR was always a compliance thing. It was more about the payroll where that HR officer was doing only the payroll activities and the statutory compliance thing. From that, it is about creating that culture and creating that right talent which fits into that team. So, there is no dearth of talent in terms of the understanding or the capability skills. It's about having the right cultural fit. And that's where I think I emphasize firmly into spending time in the recruiting people as well. And that's where I think our HR is also going to be focusing.
Wow, wow. That's really amazing, Indraneel. If you say that, you take out time from your operational work schedule and invest into recruitment. That is certainly a statement to be, highlighted in this entire interview, is what I feel.
See,
Good.
at the end of the day, as I said, it's the culture and the people that make the organization. So, if you're not spending time in getting the right people to do the jobs that you're expecting them to do, then you are in for a problem. So that's why at the top level, I think it's our role to be involved into getting the right people into the organization.
Wow, wow. I'm in an awe right now. Thank you so much. You understand this so wonderfully, and I'm sure in the steps that you want to, nurture your culture or grow your culture and get it down to the grassroots level of your employee, right? By making him one of the part of Chitale Group itself, the ownership part that you said. So, are you using any tech side in that part, or in the overall recruitment process right now that is going on with your company?
So we are using tech in terms of the tech platforms also and the tech in terms of managing the people. So be it the onboarding process, be it the remote overall HR management, the compliance systems, the overall everything happens from a phone app now. So nobody really needs to go see the person as to what's happening and what's not happening.
Right.
Right to the point where their KPIs, KRAs, their organizational growth pattern, how they will probably grow if they end up doing their job well. Everything is something that is now tech enabled. So that's already there. Finding
Right.
people also with tech platforms like LinkedIn is brilliant. I personally spend time at times just looking at people and what other people are up to.
Wow.
Because they could be my potential working partners. So that's why you have to use that, and I think technology makes things easier. But along with that, it also is about the part that how do you enable technology to bring that people on board into the organization from a cultural fit perspective.
Right.
And that's where we've been trying to see where we can use probably more of the VR and the AR capabilities also in terms of remote working capabilities
Right.
on terms of onboarding people into the fit. And that's working, but it's a work in progress. I wouldn't say HR as a whole can be tech enabled completely. There has to be that human touch into it because at the end of the day, we are dealing with humans.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
you can make processes easier. You can make statutory compliances easier. You can make daily mundane tasks automated. But end of the day, the people matter. So you have to be involved on the brain side as well, not just the automation side.
Wonderfully put it across, Indraneel. That really is wonderfully said, I must say. And yes, I agree with you. The overall, the name of the department itself is human resource. You cannot
Yeah.
take the human out of it.
Yeah.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. So, yeah, so how do you forecast your hiring cycles now going further? When you say you're planning in big numbers coming in, so how are you placing it across? Is it expected in the first quarter itself, or it will be divided
Yeah,
throughout?
so as a FMCG company, last 2 years, the first quarter has been pretty tough. Fortunately, we have been lucky that we've been able to grow consistently amidst it because of the investment into technology. But 2020 first quarter was a wipeout. Nothing was open. Everything was locked down. Second, 2021, because of the Delta variant, everything was locked down. So the hiring cycle also slowed down in the first quarter, and that became a problem for the cultural fit. Because the second quarter is usually the biggest quarter for any FMCG company, because you have the start of the festive season going up to the middle of the second quarter, middle of the third quarter. So that way, I personally emphasize getting people on board in the first quarter for the simple reason that they have enough breathing space to assimilate into the organization. Because second quarter onwards, we don't have breathing space. So that's why right now I'm in the middle of a big hiring spree. I've been taking it, my HR has been on the overdrive in terms of finding people, getting new people. We've been working with other HR recruitment firms also globally in terms of finding the right mix, and also personally getting involved because we are hiring at a very high level as well. So that way, these are the people who will be reporting to me in some way or the other, and I need to know what they're up to. So that way, that mix, and they need to know who I am in terms of what my expectations are. Because especially as a family business that is getting professionalized, it's very difficult for professionals to understand who is the boss. So that way, creating that boundary, creating that barricade for the other family members to be professional with professionals. And while doing that, professionals need to understand the family emotions and the balance values also. So how to create that is where the CEO has to step in.
Wow, absolutely. So that answer clarifies a lot of your love for your strategic management things. I can clearly sense a lot of things you said right now in that, if if I get it right.
Okay, I've just been reading this book that's just behind me. So this is about great people.
Oh.
One of
So,
the partners
guys, you can see where the inspiration is coming from, right?
to this hiring spree. So I thought, this is a great time to talk to Mukul about it.
Thank you for that. Absolutely. So now we have majority of the things clarified, guys. Right time to apply for job positions at Chitale Group. At the end of this this podcast, you will also find a description of where you can apply for all these jobs, which will make it easier for everyone to apply and search for positions as well.
Sure.
Uh, and really, just one quick question. I see that you take a lot of interest in recruitment tech, as per what you said, right? You keep on going on LinkedIn, checking profiles and all these things. So, can you just brief me on your core interest? And I also see that you're invested into an HR company, right? So, your interest, how it was driven, what how do you see the future of HR tech? And I'm talking only about recruitment per se. I understand there are HRMS systems which are creating wonders right now for existing employees. But how about the recruitment tech side of it?
So when I was saying the same thing, so let me just start a little before we actually reach a point of recruitment. But as a family business, which is safe till the fourth generation, it was very family driven. When I came into the picture and when we actually went to a point where, let's not work simply with the managers we have who are promoted supervisors probably, but let's start getting professionals because you can't handle the boat on your own. You need a good team around you. And the number of family members shrank and the business grew. So we had to get a good team to get a hold of the business. And that way, I was of the firm opinion, coming in from some outside experience, that we need to have the right people also to lead the show. So just day before yesterday, I was talking that your chief accountant simply cannot become a CFO. Probably he can, probably he or she can, because they have the skill set and they just ended up into the wrong job. But if you're going to say that my CFO is my chief accountant, that doesn't work. That's there's a very two different things. But then people don't understand this. So similarly, your HR cannot be simply the guy who processes payroll.
Absolutely. Very true.
Similarly, your marketing guy cannot be somebody that. So, how do you segregate what is a marketing person and what is a sales person? And what do you give as a JD to a sales guy and what do you do as a JD to a marketing guy? And how do you want them to work together where that impacts your CFO's decision maker on how to make a budget? And you, as CEO, are supposed to report to a family. So, it's a complex web of activities where every person is supposed to drive people beneath them, below them, around them. And while doing that, also be answerable to the family where there are stakeholders.
Oh, a task.
So necessarily family members cannot always be executive members, but they are stakeholders and they are value wise invested into the business or emotionally invested into business much beyond the tangible value of the business. So that's why you need to create a frame structure for that. You need to create a process for that, and while doing that, you also need to recruit the people who understand this balance economics. So, which is where I think tech plays a great role, because we go to a point where it is beyond just the LinkedIn profile and the job description. So we'll see what whether somebody's applying is what's their activity on Facebook, or what are their religious views on Facebook, or what they are doing on Instagram, or who they end up following, or to the point where if somebody's on Tinder, we will be conscious about the fact, because we have both men and women working in the same office, and we need to be careful in creating a secure environment for them. So we are not against office romances also, but then that also, if some things don't work, that creates a big tension in the office. So that's why, and the way digital ecosystem is progressing, it is far faster than any physical ecosystem right now. So you never know what people are up to. So that's why the profiling of the candidate and a cultural fit of the candidate is very necessary, and that's why tech-enabled platforms are ultimate way to know a person. Because an 8 to 6 activity profile is not simply enough. You need to see beyond that to see get things done.
Discovery is the key.
So, and again, the thing is, when you're hiring, especially at mid-level promising young talent, they are also extremely ambitious. So you need to create a path trajectory for them. So are you, sometimes a person can be there for just 2 years, create wonders and go, or create great damage, and that's unfixable for 2-3 years. So that's why all of these things I personally take keen interest into, because they need to fit into that place. And everybody needs to know their role, because otherwise then you're just hiring supervisors again. So they are just overpaid supervisors, and they can't do their job. When you're paying managers, you're expecting them to manage things. So that's why for me it's always been a very important part in enabling decision making, and I rely quite heavily onto that.
Wow, great. It was fantastic. A very brief and to the point discussion that we have had over here in the reel. It was amazing to talk to a friend after a very long time, but a lot to learn. This is a new side of the friend that I can see today, or I've spoken to today. Just before we leave, in the reel, a quick advice to all the job aspirants or freshers out over there who are newly coming into the market. What would you like to tell them? What would you like to say to them?
So one thing I would say is that don't fall for the pressure of your peers. Wow. Second thing would be that if you are really young and really young, and if you are financially well set off, where probably it doesn't matter whether you earn or not inside the house, just get great experiences and do work at places where salary is not the priority, but great experiences. Because in your 30s, and once you cross that age gap of 32, 35, and when you are getting either into a track where you're going to retire as a senior manager, or you're going to retire as somebody important in the organization, this experience in getting things done is what separates you, not your degrees. So that's why, how much more can you bring onto the table is what you should be focusing on in your early days in the career, and try to get that. I think that just changes your perspective as you grow older.
Absolutely. I guess build stories, create stories, and stories will always fetch money. Don't worry about it.
Look at Bollywood; it wouldn't have existed.
Absolutely great. Thank you so much.
Stories work because they break the ice faster.
Yeah, that is true. And that is what is driving the overall industry and market. I totally agree. Great. So thank you so much, Indraneel. Thank you for your time today. I really appreciate you taking out some time off your busy schedule. Just on a phone call, and that too, not much that I have to follow up with you.
We go a long way back, so that's not asking.
Great. Thank you so much, Indraneel. Okay. And guys, stay tuned for more videos. Take care.